see me when I'm talking with the camera?
I can see you, but I can't see the screen when the light's on. So when you're done talking, we'll turn the light down, and
Okay.
if you want to do it that way.
Okay. Today I'm going to demo something new that probably most of you haven't seen before. 4 or 5 years ago, a gentleman in France named Jean-Francois Del Nero, goes by Jeff, wanted a replacement for a floppy drive. His floppy disks were getting old, and he was having errors with them and such, and thus was born the SD card USB HxC Floppy Emulator. I'm not sure what the HxC stands for, but we'll go through both of them a little bit here. Let's see if I can get mine. Yeah. Started by him in 2006. There's 2 versions. The first version, and I'll show you pictures, and you can come up and look at these afterwards. The first version is a slaved USB version. In other words, it plugs into a PC through USB. You run a client program on the PC. You give it a V99 or a TI-99 disk, and then it presents that disk through a regular floppy, like a regular floppy drive to the TI. So you plug the TI's floppy cable straight into this device, and it acts just like a virtual floppy drive. The second version is an SD card version, and we'll go over that a little bit too, but you can transfer all your V99 and PC99 disks into a format this thing likes, and you have a nice little screen that you can select whatever floppy image you want to have it mount in the device. This HxC doesn't just support the TI, it supports a lot of computers. If you have anything with a normal 34-pin floppy connector, you can hook the HxC to it. Jeff has a very extensive list at his website. A lot of vintage computers, CNCs, musical keyboards, MIDI keyboards, anything that took a regular floppy drive can use these devices. And Mike's probably going to smile at this because he's an ex-Amiga guy too, but it supports high density, double density, and standard density MFM and FM formats, and many strange formats. It even supports Amiga track encoding proprietary formats. So those of you who had an Amiga and had a proprietary disk you can never copy, that's what that's all about. This is the USB one, and this is the one that I have set up here right now. It's got a few little different status lights at the bottom that you can kind of see. It's got a few logic chips. There's a little SRAM chip on the side there, and there's the FPGA. It's an Altera Max that handles all the software for the device. And at the bottom, you see a USB connection where it goes to the PC. I've got actually VMware running Windows XP in this, on my MacBook here, running the little client program. And at the top, you have the floppy disk drive connector going to the TI. So a few different facts about this particular model. This is the first one. We can load any kind of PC99 disk images in read-only mode. Everything with this device is read-only. There's no write on this device. The 720K, I mean the 90K, 180K, and 360K, both V99 and PC99. And that I'm aware of, there's not really any support for any high density like the MyArc high density cards or anything. I've never tested them. There might be. It might just work. I don't know. So here's the software. It's pretty straightforward. Here's the status screen on the right. It'll tell you whether it's ready or not. And if you've ever played with floppy drives and you've messed with DS0, DS1, DS2, think of that as DSK1, DSK2, DSK3. You can check the box to make if you have a twisted cable instead, and it makes adjustments for that in the FPGA. Gives you some nice neat statistics about how fast it's going and what its response time is. You can adjust the priority if you have other stuff working on the computer. And on the left is the main menu for the program. You hit the load button, you can load the floppy disk image. So if you want to load your PC99 or your V99 disk image there, you can create a blank floppy. You can export the floppies to a different format. I'll bring that up again when we talk about the SD card, but it's not needed for the USB one. You can just load and give it a PC99 or a V99 disk image with this particular version. And obviously the settings. So, and it kind of tells you, you can, there's no other way of knowing what it's doing other than looking at this. You see at the bottom right here, it kind of tells you, oh, this floppy disk I loaded was 40 tracks, 2 sides. And it tells you tracks 0 to 40. And that particular slider down there will go up and down depending on whatever track the device happens to be on at the moment. So I'm going to give a little demo here. We're going to load yesterday off of one of the TI PEB disks that I took and converted from the TI site with TI Extended Basic, and I'm actually using a Core Comp 9900 micro expansion system, which I have hooked up to this TI right here. So, Waleed, how do you change inputs on here?
Just plug in.
I want to go to the TI. So I've already loaded it into here, and you see right here the G0601.bsk is already reflected here. So we're gonna, I can probably flip back and forth, right? Or do we have to?
It's remote is now.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and, so if you can see this up here, I have the device hooked up to the Core Comp, and I also have it hooked up to this Windows XP system right here. So this is the USB one, this is the slave one. So we're going to go ahead and, barring any unforeseen circumstances, we're going to hopefully see this thing load here.
There you go.
Yep. So, let's see here. And so if you could see this here, it's kind of bright. It's flashing a couple lights here. Probably done loading. It's parked on track 8 here on the PC. And we'll hook back the PC back up here in a second and show you what it looks like when I do this same load, so that way you can see what it's doing. But there you go. It just loaded the program completely off of the slave PC. So I've taken a $2,000 MacBook and I have converted it into a dumb TI peripheral. So going back here, so I just plug this back in here. In. How do I get it once I plug the PC back in? How do I get it to go back?
Just unplug the yellow plug from the back.
Oh, yellow. Unplug the yellow one.
Okay.
So I'm going to do this again.
There it goes.
There you go. You see how it's seeking back and forth? This, you know, if you can imagine the floppy disk noises, that's what it's doing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to load yesterday here. And you'll see it seeking, going from track to track. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this before. Break this here. Okay. So that was the demo, and it actually worked, yay. Here's the newer one, and the contrast is a little bit off on here, but this is the SD card HxC emulator here. And this one's a little bit different. It's got an LCD that kind of tells you what's going on. It's got a speaker down here at the bottom. It's going to actually make the little clicking noises that you used to hear when the disc seeks. It goes from track to track. There are 3 buttons here that you can actually go through menus. And rather than go ahead and going through this here, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of step through. Here's how you load. Actually, I'm going to go to the background first, then I'll step through and show you how you load. I took screen snapshots of me pressing and going through the different menus and stuff. So this is a standalone unit. It just needs power and it needs the floppy connector. That's it. And I'm sure some enterprising person has probably come up with a case, a plastic case or something, but I don't have one. So I just have the board right now sitting on a ASD bag. It can take up to a 32 gig SDHC card. Now, here's the interesting part about this. You can mix and match and do whatever you want on this SDHC card. If you want to have 6 gig of Amiga games and 2 gig of TI disks, you can do it. All the unit cares about is that the floppy images are in the unit's native HFE format, and I'll show you how we get to that. So any V99 or PC99 images must be converted. It's got the 3 buttons, it's got the speaker, and it has write support. And I haven't really gotten that to work yet, but I have been working with the author to get that taken care of. Make sure I get this in the right way here. Okay. So, how do you convert a PC99 or a V99 disk to this HFE format that this thing wants on these SD cards? It's pretty easy. Same program that you ran before. All you do is you click Batch Converter there, and you feed it a directory full of V99 or PC99 disks, and you give it a target directory to stick them, and you hit Convert. And that's it. It converts them for you. And then from that point on, you create whatever directory structure you want on your SD card, and you put the files in it. And you see here a huge directory of Tiger Cup disks that I converted from the site to work on my TI through this device. So what else? There's some configuration required, and this has got the SD card's got a settings button just like the USB one does, and you can change all kind of stuff. You can change the head steps down, how fast the text is scrolling on the LCD, how long the light stays on, the backlight stays on the LCD. And many other things. You can make it actually load a default disk every time it boots up, no matter what. So if you have a favorite disk and you have to load it on boot every time and you want to insert it, you can do that.
It looks like it supports 2 drives there as well, right?
Yes, this one will support 2 drives.
Nice.
There's jumpers on it. Mine is only jumper for DSK1 right now because I actually have a floppy disk, a 3.5 that I put on DSK2 so that I can copy stuff back and forth between the units if I wanted to. So we're going to give you a little demo here. We're going to load Pulling software from the same disk, and I'm going to step through this on the device while talking you through the slides. Because I can't obviously show you this device while I'm stepping through here. But using the same core count, so we can navigate to the directory. So I have actually a directory here called Tiger Cup, which I'll go to. And I'll hit the middle button.
John?
Yes.
Just a suggestion, since the microphone is so close to the speakers, if you want to talk at the same time as you're playing music, you're going to either have to move the microphone or you're going to have to wait till the music is played a little bit.
Okay.
And then talk.
Got it. So we're going to navigate to the directory, and everybody that remembers the Tiger Cub disk remembers there was number series. So the 600 was all the music series for Tiger Cub. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find 600. And there's actually a disk called 601 that I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up 601. And there it is. And if you look at the bottom here, it tells you you're on track 240. Same information that the little GUI program told you a while ago, except you will actually see it on here. I don't know if you could hear it making noise. You just go click, 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 click. So, let's see here. So, and I will try to endeavor to be quiet here. So you heard a few clicks, and then it loads the program. And as usual, extend basic speed.
It's okay, we can hear the pre-scan.
Yeah, so if you saw the device here, it's actually sitting at track 34 out of 40. So there you go. Here's Killing Me Softly. Rather loud. Purple up there, blue down here.
Killed it. It wasn't soft like.
Yeah, it wasn't too soft. So, let's see here. Now, this disc I put in here is a new format one that's supposed to support RAID. So I'm just going to try to save something and see. I'm kind of curious because I just dumped it on here a little bit earlier today.
Is there an easy method to create blank disks?
Yes, you can actually, that GUI, that program has a, haven't fixed it yet. There is a, you can take either a TI-99 blank format disk and then convert to HFE, or you should be able to take the GUI and just say create blank image. And it creates a blank HFE image. It'll ask you how big you want it to be. So you want it to be a 360K, 180K, whatever. And then it'll create it for you. Yeah, we're working on trying to get the right support completely working. There's a little bit of difference in the format for some reason. He said that there's a new, the newer version of this program does something different. The conversion from PC99 to E99 the old one didn't do. And it's supposed to affect RAID. Obviously, I couldn't get it to work, so I'll email him back and said, hey, I got an error code 61. So here's where it was doing all the clicking right here. You see right here where it was reading track 34 out of 40. And you saw the little lights down there, the lights were flashing. So where do you get one of these? Well, I don't sell them. There's a gentleman that goes by Lotharek. That's my best guess of how it's pronounced. And he's got this website here that sells it. He also sells them on eBay.
Yeah.
Yes, Polish. His website, actually has them available, or if you don't want to go and order them off of a Polish website, you can actually order them off of eBay. He usually lists a couple different auctions with them as well. And if you don't, if you want a copy of this presentation, I have a copy of it in PDF on Dropbox, so just let me know. If you're friends with me on Facebook, then it's on my Facebook page, a copy of the PDF. I plan on also putting it on HxBus.com sooner or later as well. Yes, and so this will work with the Amiga, this will work with your Vintage PCs, this will work with your TI-99, anything with a standard floppy disk. And I've got a lot of links in this presentation as well. There's the master website at the top. Any information you want to know about this product that's on here. There's some support forums, and Jeff is really active in the support forums. He has them categorized. So depending on what platform you're having problems with, you go on the forum, and Jeff monitors all of them. He is very actively involved with any kind of technical issues with the product. I emailed him a copy of this presentation and said, by the way, I'm going to give a demo of your product over at the TI Faire in Evanston. And here's a copy of the PDF of the thing. The only thing I couldn't get working for the demo was write. And he emailed me back literally an hour later and said, try this. So, system support, there's a list of all the systems that this supports, and Jeff's email address. So any issues or whatever, he's very, very good about helping. I know that him, myself, and Ciro over from Italy had worked together through some B99 disk image issues that we were having. So he's very, yes, Ciro has one of this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so he knew that I had one, so him, Jeff, and I worked together to try to fix some of the issues. So obligatory questions section. Anybody have any questions about this? Yes.
Tom, what was the price of this unit again?
It was $80 for the newer one. I don't believe they sell the old USB one any longer, but the newer one that takes the SD card, that has a little LCD screen, has been going for around $80.
Now, does that include shipping, or is that?
I honestly don't remember how much the shipping was. But yeah, this can replace your floppy disk drive on any of your old computers, including the TI.
Does it ship from the United States or ship all the way from Poland?
It's just from Poland. Yeah, so you have to wait a few weeks for it to go through customs and everything before you get it.
Is there ever any problems with customs of bringing in electronics? I remember Gary Bowser used to have a lot of problems coming in from Canada with any kind of demo cards he brought in. And
Yeah, it's been pretty good. When I was mailing cartridges overseas, you know, when we were doing the cartridge boards a few years back, I don't think anyone had any issues with receiving the cartridges.
That's good.
So, yes.
Work on Geneve.
Yeah, Geneve uses a standard floppy drive controller card. It works fine. You can have your boot disk for the Geneve configured in that little tool. It'll be the default disk where everything powers on, and just fire the thing up.
Did I hear you at one point say something about 100 disc maximum? Was that?
No, there's really no maximum. It's as many as you want to put on this disk. I've got a 2 gig SD card, and on that 2 gig SD card, I have not only my entire collection of discs, but I also have every single disc in the site. And just to give you an idea, this is just a Tiger Cup collection right here from the site. So this one SD card has, I wouldn't even attempt to make a guess right now, but there's probably thousands of disk images on this one card. And it's all directory structure. You know, everything's in its little logical place. So if I want to go find the Amnion, which is the old IUG library, I just go to Amnion and then go select whatever disk I want. So same thing with Tiger Cup, and that's why I printed this out, because I have no idea what 601.dsk has on it unless I had this thing laying around. So
The advantage is that you can copy SD cards on your PC.
mm-hmm. Yes, it's a regular format. It's
That's
FAT32.
not possible with the copper flash cards of the Montreal system.
Yes, and this is just a standard FAT32 SD card. You format it on your Windows or your Mac PC in FAT32 format, and then you just drag files over to it.
Yeah.
That's all you do.
Only one of a group of people have to do the work, and you have them all.
Mm-hmm. Anything else? Thank you, everyone.